Castle Eden Red.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I have got one here from the Castle Eden Brewery. Now they're based in a place called Seaham, which is in County Durham, right up north. And they're based near a place called Sunderland. Well, County Durham is the county, obviously. And as I say, they're based in a place called Seaham. Not very sort of well known on the map. It's quite a small region of County Durham. But you know what's worrying about that? There is a place not too far away called Chemical Beach. Now I don't know about you, but I would not like to spend my 2 weeks of holiday every year on a place called Chemical Beach. If anything, that just, I don't know, Chemical Beach. If somebody said to me, do you fancy going down to Chemical Beach? I'd be thinking, no, fucking hell. Why is it called Chemical Beach? And more importantly, what fucking chemicals have been spilt there? But it's there, just so as you know. And the reason I'm saying it is I'm not too sure whether I should be drinking this or not, if it's adjacent to Chemical Beach. I'm sure it's called Chemical Beach for some other reason. I'm fucking hoping it is anyway. Otherwise, I am going to be ingesting fuck knows what. But this did look quite interesting when I picked it up. And this came from Beer Sniffers. No, it didn't. I lie. It came from Noble Green. And it just looked really interesting. It's a red New World ale. Now, I don't know why they've called it a New World ale. I imagine it's some kind of marketing gimmick because it contains American hops, which I'll get into later. But if you're going to... it contains one American hop, all right? And I'll get onto that a bit further on. But if it's going to contain one fucking American hop, why would you just say New World? New World to me is an old British way or an old English way of saying America, because America was the New World. And you see this a lot in IPAs, you know, New World IPAs, etc. And the cynic in me I can't help thinking they've done that as a marketing ploy to try and get people to try and drink the stuff. Now, I'm all for that, but I don't know, it just doesn't wash with me. Whenever I see marketing that, you know, I can say it's a cynical fucking ploy to them on their part to try and get people to drink their beer. You know, it leaves a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth, excuse the pun. But it does look interesting. And these have been going since 1826, so I shouldn't be knocking them. They're a pretty traditional brewery. However, they do a lot of contract brewing. And they offer the full fucking spectrum. They advertise it. They offer obviously the brewing, but they also offer the packaging, the bottling, the distribution. And they also offer lab assistance, so you know that they're going to be doing the yeast in there and they're going to be testing the beer, etc, etc. So it's like, you know, if you're a supermarket or you're I don't know, just a very small craft brewer that can't cope with demand, you'd employ their services and they'd brew it for you, which, you know, in these times it's that or go bust. So I am not knocking them for that, because everybody has got to make a fucking living. So with that in mind, let's get on to the beer. Well, first of all, here's the label, all right? There it is there. It is a 500ml bottle. It is 4.4%. And do you know what? I'm just looking at this label. And it's, you know, it's a typical scene from, you know, the Rockies or something like that in America. But they've called it New World Ale, and there is fuck all I can do about it. So there's nothing and there's nothing more I'm gonna do about it anyway. What does it say on the side, on the back even? A ruby ale with a rich malty character from the combination of pale, light and dark crystal malts with torrefied wheat. I'll get onto what that is in a minute, to ensure a rich creamy head. At 4.4%, it's a full-bodied beer with a juicy hop character from the generous helping of Willamette hops. I'll get onto them in a second. Originally brewed at the world-famous Castle Eden Brewery in Castle Eden Village, we brand and reintroduced. The brand was reintroduced using the same traditional recipes and ingredients. In 2018, from the brewery's home in Seaham Harbour. Now, when they say the original recipe, I'll get onto that in a minute. So, first of all, let's get onto what torrefied wheat is. Torrefied wheat is basically puffed wheat. So, it's, you know, like your sugar puffs without the honey. You know, that's what it is. And you throw that into it makes up the grain bill, and you throw that into the boil. And as they say, it improves the body and it improves the head retention, which is good. There's also pale malt, which is your base malt. That's going to make up most of it. You've got your light and your dark crystal malt. Crystal malt, of course, is where the malt has been sprayed with water and the shoots sort of start appearing. To feed these shoots, the malt will produce sugar. Once it starts producing the sugar, that's when it goes into the kiln and they roast them. That kills the shoots, but it preserves the sugar, and the sugar goes crystallised. Now, they say light and dark crystal malt, and of course the dark crystal malts have been left in the kiln a bit longer than the light crystal malts, and that's where they get their colour from, and that's what colours the beer. Now, Willamette is a substitute for quite a few hops, or it can be used as quite a good substitute for certain European hops. For example, Tettnanger, which is a German noble hop, Styrian Goldings and Kent Goldings. Now, these are typically European hops. They've got spicy and earthy notes on them as well. You find them in a lot of German beers. You find obviously the Goldings you find in a lot of British ales. So Willamette, I can see why they've done it, because it's a substitute for them. It does beg the question, why did they not use either Goldings or even, you know, Tettnanger hops? But they've used Willamette for some reason. Now, Willamette, of course, are an American hop. Maybe that's why they wanted to call this New World Ale. Willamette, of course, is a place in Oregon, on the west coast, northern west coast of the United States. Oregon and Washington, of course, are renowned for hop growing, and I'm assuming that's where the name has come from. It's grown in the Willamette region of Oregon, hence the name. So there you go. So, with that having been gotten out of the way, let's get this beer open. Right, the cap is a plain black cap. There you go. That's my mate. Just talking about the black cap, that was my mate Julian's favourite bar in Camden Town. Look that up at your peril. Anyway, let's get it into the glass. Okay, there it is. Now it is, as they say, a ruby ale. Head on that looks quite good. What are we getting on the nose? Wow, lots of malt. And some wheat as well. And earthy notes too. Very earthy notes, in fact. This does smell pretty damn good. Smells promising. Let's get some more of this stuff into the glass. Now that actually does look pretty damn good. Yeah, there's even more of that. Even more of that caramel malt. But there is like a wheaty type aroma coming from it too. And I don't know whether this is bottle conditioned, it certainly doesn't say that it is, but it looks quite clear actually, so probably not. Carbonation is pretty lively. Anyway, let's get it down the hatch. Your good elf. And that is not bad. That is not bad at all. Cool. The spice on this from them hops really does shine through on the end, on the finish. There's like a peppery. Now, I always go on about this, but it's very subtle in a lot of the beers that I try. But on this, it is pretty damn big. I'm getting like a black pepper type finish, along with that malt. It's like a toffee malt finish. Now, first mouthful, it doesn't blow me out of the water like the Wadworth 6X or the Cropton stuff or the Cotley Brewery stuff, but it's not a bad effort at all. But I'm really noticing that hop character coming through on the finish, which is nice because usually that's reasonably subtle and it's all about the malt, but you do get a lot more of that in here. Big caramel and big toffee too. There's quite a bit of toffee malt on that as it goes, and it's very nice. And I can imagine this will be a creeper. God, that finish, very, very spicy and earthy. And in a blindfold test, I could have sworn that they were British hops. And as I said before, you know, when I was doing the beer facts and all that, the Willamette hop is a good substitute for British hops, specifically the East Kent Goldings and Target and Challenger hops, where they've got that earthy, spicy type finish on them, and it really does come through here. I'm not sure about that torrefied wheat retaining the head on it. I think you need to get some of the the caramel to do that, but it certainly gives it body. I will say that this has got quite good body on it. Now I'm wondering, because this was in the fridge, this room is quite warm, I've left it out for about half an hour, but it is still sort of cold, bordering on chilled. So I'm wondering if this needs to be calmed down a little bit. And I was out the other night, and now I've discovered that little off license in Maidstone. Well, I went to a party over the weekend. It was the missus' birthday, and I got some of the Wadworth 6X, and that was on the shelf in the off license, and I drank it at room temperature, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It is all about the flavour with that beer, and it was really nice. So there is a case. I know the Yanks say, "Oh, your beer's warm." You drink your beers warm. It's a traditional thing. You get more flavours from our ales anyway. I don't know about the American stuff, whether that needs to be chilled. I'd imagine take the edge off them very acidic hops that they use and fruity hops. But with British beer, when it's about the malt, you do like to get that flavour. All the flavours on the palate, and only by drinking it very slightly chilled or even at room temperature, usually in winter. I mean, they say that, you know, the summers aren't as hot as they were back then, and they didn't last as long. So you'd be drinking usually, you know, for, you know, sort of 60-70% of the year in relatively cooler climates, which would translate into the cellars, etc. But I'm going way off topic here. Let me have another mouthful of this. This one is a bit of a creeper, as I say. It doesn't blow you away as you take your first mouthful, but as you go down the glass, you're sort of discovering new flavours. And I have to say, I had my misgivings about the name and all that, but I did like this description, and the description was basically everything that was up my street when it comes to beer, when it comes to British beer, I should say. And this is proving to be a really nice one, and I think I made a good choice. The mouthfeel is good, and as I say, the toffee and the caramel malt are really big on this, but it's that finish that does it for me, where the hops just burst through on the end with the earth and the spicy pepper finish that makes it bitter, you know, and it's lovely. It's really good, and the roasted malt in this is coming through as well. You're getting a very slight sort of, I wouldn't say burnt, but yeah, roasted is the only way I can describe it. It gives it that roasted bitterness as well, which combines with the hops. And it's really well, you know, balanced and sort of flavoured too. I had doubts about the Willamette, but I'll tell you something, that's a good choice, and they've done really well with the malt on this as well. And Percy's heard me talking about good beer. Come here, come on, Percy, come here. Right, Percy, come up here. What's your opinion on Eden Castle Red? What do you reckon, mate? I know, I can see you looking at it. What do you reckon? Get out of it. I know I fuck about with this, but please, and I've said it in a couple of videos, don't give your dogs beer. Dogs cannot drink beer. The hops, they are allergic to them. It will give them the shits, and they will not be happy. Would you, Percy, you'd be fucking happy, because you'd eat anything, you little git. Do you know what? When he throws up, he eats his own sick. That's how disgusting you are. And I'm getting my face near to you. Who's the bigger mug, eh? What do you reckon, Percy? Hey? Hey? Go on. He'd sit there forever, he would. He thinks he's king of the castle when he's sitting on my lap. Anyway, enough about Percy and his sick eating exploits. He's a fucking disgusting bastard. His farts could strip wallpaper. I don't know what the fuck he eats, but honestly, they make your eyes water. What are we talking about now? Oh yeah. Yeah, this stuff. I'm going to have one more gulp and then we'll get on. Yeah, it's a really nice one, and it's growing on me as it warms up. There's more of the malts coming through now, but I'm still getting that lovely spicy bit of finish. This is really good. It's not an absolutely amazing beer, but it's a good solid ruby. If I had to drink this all night, it would not be the worst night of my life. So what's the verdict on Castle Eden Red New World Ale? Well, I'll tell you something, it looked good on paper and it was equally good in a glass. And I have to say, this is my first one from the Castle Eden Brewery, and I've been looking at what they do. They're pretty traditional in what they've, you know, got available at the moment. They've only got a few, there's not many in their range, but I'd imagine they're quite busy doing contract brewing and stuff, and they've just released, I think, a heritage range of beers, which I should really check out. But if they're anything like this is a really good one. I like everything about it. It's typically British. If you like your ruby ales, you will love this. It's available from Noble Green, and it was... Have I still got... No, I don't think I have. I don't think this is... Do you know what? Take it back. I take it all back. It was Beer Sniffers. It was Beer Sniffers. Stop the fucking press. Right, it's $3.29 a bottle. That's a little bit expensive, but I think it's worth it. And as I say, I don't mind paying for good beer. That is a good beer in my opinion. And I'm just looking on here. I've also got Castle Eden Ale as well, so that's going to be interesting too. I'll review that in a bit. But yeah, $3.29. So make your mind up if you want to get a couple of bottles of this. I know they do 12 packs and all that, but really, really good. Well worth the money in my opinion. And this is what I like. This is the sort of beer I like. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Reason it's not going to get a 10 out of 10, it's not one of them ones that just blows you away. Like, you know, the Cotley stuff, the Cropson stuff, the Wadworth stuff that I tried. I mean, that Wadworth stuff really is good. And, you know, some of the others that I've tried, you know, some of the Shepherd Neame stuff, etc., etc. It doesn't blow you away on first mouthful. Beers that do that get a 10 out of 10. This stuff, this is a creeper. So it's good on the initial mouth. It's good on the initial gulp. But then, you know, as it warms up and, you know, you get through it, you think, fuck, this really is a good beer. So it's going to get a 9 out of 10. Brilliant stuff, highly recommended, and everything I like about beer is in that glass. And remember, beer is working class champagne.